Okay. So a little bit yesterday I went around and cleared out some of the side quests and stuff, trying to push through the finish, because we should be just about at the ending here. Really wanting to get through so I can start routing the speedrun, because of the speed I'm going at broadcasting this for my first playthrough. Going a little bit slower than everybody else, but that's okay. After Oswell's defeat, I managed to get mixed up in all sorts of wild adventures. A long time passed in what seemed to be the blink of an eye. But on all my travels, there was one thing I could never get out of my mind. Grow. What had happened to him? Was he even still alive? I realized it was time for me to embark on another journey. I thought back to what happened that day. Grow had fallen into the ravine with Aswell, but Aswell had survived, so it was possible that Grow had too. But even if he was still alive, it was likely that his malfestation had grown far worse. Grow knew exactly how far he could safely push the limits of the malfested power within him. However, when the time came, he purposefully went beyond them. His words echoed in my mind. I know that my mind will not survive if I harness my complete power. The thought depressed me. If that was what had become of him, it was up to me to keep my promise. I spoke to robbers, bounty hunters, and others who made their living in the shadows, all in the hopes of finding clues to Grow's whereabouts. Yeah, that'd be the Black Demon. You know, he's kind of like the Azure Knight fellow way back. I'd keep well away, not worth the bounty money if you ask me. Elusive, cruel, devilishly fast, and wilier than a fox. None of us survived long enough to even get a good look at him. We got an unspoken rule in the shadows, some things you just don't do no matter how much money is on the table. Not unless you got a death wish, anyway. Huh? Where is he? Where is he? Hell if I know. If I did, I'd make a quick buck selling the info to some rich goody two-shoes who wants to play hero. Were you even listening to me? The Black Demon. This was the first lead with potential I had come across. Perhaps this would put me on the path to finding Grow. I thought about my next move. There was a limit to what I could accomplish alone. I needed help, and the only option I saw was the Aval organization. I couldn't be sure the lead was solid. However, this Black Demon definitely sounded like an outsider, so I felt I could be onto something. Natalie and Dion had told me if they had any information, they would send a messenger. But what was the point of waiting? If my travels had taught me anything, it was that I needed to take the initiative to get anything done. So I decided to contact Aval through a secret channel they had provided for me just in case. That meant taking my way to a town far off the beaten path. I'd need some time to locate it. There's a Keelik battle at Edgemaster's place that's absolutely outrageous. Haven't been able to finish that up. Got a couple of things here, though. What are they? Deadly Treasure, Berg Family Rumors. This is about where the island of Boldo's master is located, so that's probably something with Boldo. During my travels, I stopped at a small roadside settlement. As I was enjoying my breakfast at the inn, the owner and a visiting traveler struck up a conversation. By the way, have you heard? They say this area is run by Verci, the legendary merchant of death. Of course I've heard. Anyone who's old enough knows about Verci of the House of Berg. Long ago he used his wealth to control this entire area. So it is true then. The traveler sitting next to me leaned forward. Is it also true that Verci left all his treasure buried deep beneath some nearby island? I hear it's protected by a creepy guardian that no one's ever defeated. You believe everything you hear? The Berg family lost their fortune during the war, and whatever was left was sold to rival merchants for a fraction of its worth. The only people who believe there's some hidden vault of treasure left are gullible outsiders. Just as he finished speaking, the owner was called away by another patron. Man, he's got no sense of adventure. Ain't that right, brother? Perhaps looking for vindication after the cold reception he received from the owner, the traveler turned to me. Hey, what do you think about the treasure? I know it exists because I have video game knowledge. I knew you'd agree. Looks like you've got a taste for those kinds of stories too, huh? Traveler stared at me as if making some sort of calculation. And you look like you're pretty capable. Alright, that settles it then. I'll cover your tab. Here, take this too. Consider it the first half of your payment. Right then, let's go. The traveler paid his tab, then slid me some money before promptly leaving the inn. I didn't know what he was on about, but I wasn't about to just take his money and leave. I headed out of the inn and followed the man. Because even if you're playing this game evil, you're a noble dice guy. Yep, that's what I thought. A Boldo battle. Only level 45? This shouldn't be too bad. During my time in a settlement, I met a traveler searching for Verci's hidden treasure. He had some interesting information. Survived one deadly blow, so he's got guts. As we walked, the traveler told me he had definite proof of the existence of Verci's hidden treasure, and that he was at the inn looking for a bodyguard to deal with the treasure's guardian. The story of the money pit, the underground vault where Verci's treasure was hidden, was well known among thieves and bandits. And on top of that, my brother's actually found the treasure. This letter is proof of that. In the letter, his brother said that after he found the island where the money pit was located, he took some of the treasure and hid it in the mountains to the east. That's the last I heard of my brother. He was a greedy good-for-nothing, so he probably snuck back into the money pit and was done in by the guardian there. Ah, here it is. There was a thin crevice overshadowed by a boulder that matched the drawing in the letter. Inside it was a small recess with a bundle wrapped in a worn-out cloth. When the traveler took out the bundle and unraveled it, several jewels, larger and more radiant than any I had ever seen, came rolling out. Whoa, as long as I've got these, I can live a life of... Suddenly, a smile still fresh on his face, the traveler fell flat onto the jewels. From the massive spurt of blood that erupted from his neck, it was obvious he was dead. Behind him stood a strange-looking man, holding unusual weapons in each hand. I'm not even going to attempt to do a Voldo growl. Easier to do outsider growls.
Battle 1. Fight!
Yeah, he's nothing. Voldo's probably my least favorite character in any of the games. I do not like anything about Voldo. Just when I thought I defeated him, the man, still contorted into a grotesque pose, began to sidle towards me with surprising speed. With little time to react, I kicked him into the rocky crevice where the treasure had been, then sprinted down the mountain without looking back. Was he the guardian of the money pit? I only hope that I didn't run into him again.
Your soul surges in your body.
Way up there on the northern tip of England, past Scotland. Justin in search of strength. Another in search of strength. Looks like the expedition's done here. What other things do we have to explore? Husvin, by the temple, has something. As I was walking through town when I heard a voice call out to me. Hello, you there? Yes, you. Just as I thought. I've seen you before. Dhaka, if I'm not mistaken. You've been there, haven't you? I knew it. I remember you facing down some pirates. I may be old, but I never forget a face. You see, I was in Dhaka collecting donations for the qualifiers from local lords and noblemen. Thing is, I lost contact with the qualifiers not long ago, and now the people I collected coin from are calling me a fraud. So to clear everything up, I traveled way out here. Heard there was a qualifier base around, so I thought I'd come see what's what. I asked him if he'd found any leads, and he puffed out his chest. You bet. I found the very man I handed my donations off to. When I asked him what was going on, he said that Lord Oswell had gone missing and all his bases had been abandoned. But... The old man gave me a sly grin. I hear that all the coin I collected is still lying around one of these bases. Get my drift? I'll spell it out for you. I want you to help me get it back. This place is supposed to be right dangerous. So if you'll come along to keep me safe, I'll split the findings with you 50-50. Deal? Sure, why not? Great to hear. Well, hurry up and pack your bags. Let's get going. 4 unknown enemies, reduced health, and it depletes over time. Oh, god. Okay, I want health restoring stuff then. I guess I've got mead and just about not much else. Maybe I'll change my weapon to this one. The old man had gotten a map to the qualifier base from his contact. Following it, we headed out into the Devash-e-Kabir desert. The blazing sun and burning sand slowly baked us, draining away our strength. See the shape of that rock? The entrance should be on the other side. The old man led me through a narrow gap between two large rocks, and there we found a massive ruin. Apparently we'd arrived at one of Aswell's old research facilities. I could sense something wrong here, something I'd felt before. An astral fissure was nearby. I noticed a momentary shadow cast on the ground, and I glanced up to see a number of strange winged creatures flitting through the air. What are those things? Angels? No, wait, demons? The winged aberrations had us in their sights, and moments later they swooped down to strike. Hooray for winged aberrations. No, these are, okay, now that's a demon. Oh no. What are you doing? Okay. Now I'm gonna have to do those battles over again.
Soulcalibur 6.
Okay. Haven't run into too many issues of lockups and being dropped, but it's more than you encounter on most console games. Well, that battle went a lot better. This one's having more trouble. Yikes. Goodness.
The soul of a warrior now lays here to rest.
Oh, I forgot to get my, I forgot to equip food and get my healing weapon out. That's bad. So I need all my fights to go this well. I'll have to vent and try again. Okay, that was better. That sword definitely was a huge help with its increased defense and healing properties. Not to mention the food that I forgot to get. Okay, one to go. Okay. Back on track. I could sense a faint energy from the fallen creatures, something akin to the astral fissures. Perhaps these things had come to our world from the other side. As we proceeded through the ruins, I struck down monstrosity after monstrosity. Eventually the old man shouted in excitement and pointed at his map. "We're here. Somewhere in this room is all that delicious coin." I left the old man searching for ledgers and gold and started exploring the nearby chambers. Soon I found a room filled with shelf upon shelf of books. In the center sat a large desk, and I found my eyes drawn to a sheaf of papers lying atop it. It looked to be a report on the ultimate seed, perhaps written by Aswell himself. As I flipped through the pages, I heard footsteps approach from behind. "There you are. I've been looking for you. Seems that room only held enough coin for their daily expenses. The more valuable stuff was stored further in. Come on, no dallying. Let's go get it." We continued on, but soon ran into a problem. The roof had caved in, blocking the passage ahead. From the chips in the walls and the fallen pillars, it looked like there had been a grueling battle. "Grr, it should be just ahead, but there's no way the two of us can dig through all this. Well, we've got no choice but to give up for now. Let's head back to town and hire some help." The old man and I headed back the way we came. Ooh, a library piece about the ultimate seed. A level 70 critter, huh? Survive until time runs out. With hired hands to help, we once again made our way to the ancient ruins. Looking back, I should have known what we were in for. With a white elixir, huh? Let's see. Well, I didn't use that before, so I'll get 20% health from valuable jerky, and I'll equip my defensive weapon to help that as well. I returned to the ruins with the old man, accompanied by a cadre of mercenaries he hired with the gold from the abandoned qualifier base. Working together, we cleared the rubble and made our way deeper into the ruins. I could feel the astral fissure growing closer the further in we went. "We found it! Everyone grab a load and bring it out! And remember, we're splitting this! No sneaking off with coin in your pocket!" The old man set about organizing the mercenaries as they transported the contents of the treasure vault outside. This was my chance. While they were busy, I could go deal with the astral fissure. I snuck out and, after a few minutes of searching, found it floating in the air above a large altar. I didn't sense anything alive, but the room was littered with the corpses of dead monsters. They all seemed strangely withered. Just what had happened here? I had a bad feeling about this, but I approached the astral fissure. As I stretched my hand towards the astral fissure, I felt two forces tugging at me from the other side. In my mind, I heard a voice from my dreams, and 2 swords appeared. Which symbol of power would I choose? Soon the astral fissure vanished. As I reached for it, I heard a thunderous roar. The ground shook, and in the distance I could hear the mercenaries begin to scream. I rushed back to find a monster standing in the center of the treasure vault. The corpses of my mercenary companions had been brutally ripped apart and scattered about the room. The beast roared, then took a long breath. As it did, strange pale blue lights rose from the corpses and streamed into the beast's gaping maw. After a few moments, the lights faded, and the creature turned to glare at me. Some sort of soul stealer. This thing auto restores its health, so yeah. Glad I made that sword into a defensive. This was the sword I got from beating the mastery style for my weapon. Somehow I managed to stagger the great beast, but I had no chance of slaying it. While I desperately tried to think of what to do, I heard a voice shout from behind me. "Over here! This way!" A crack opened in what had been a smooth, solid wall. The old man stuck his head out and frantically beckoned me in. I slid into the hidden room, and the man quickly sealed the entrance behind him. A second later, a great shudder shook the ground as the beast threw itself at the wall. "You're alive! I ran to this side of the room trying to get away from that thing, and what do you know? Found myself a secret passageway. I was hiding in here thinking about what to do when I saw you." The old man held aloft his light to illuminate the hidden chamber, and I saw stacks of books and hastily scribbled notes scattered everywhere. Among one particularly thick stack, I found what appeared to be the second half of the report I had previously read. Perhaps this was Oswell's secret study? "Hey, I found a way out! Come on, we've got to run! This place is about to fall apart!" I grabbed the stack of papers and ran after the old man. From behind me, I heard the sound of the wall collapsing under the beast's blows. In terror, I ran through the darkness, not daring to look back. Minutes later, we burst out of what appeared to be a secret entrance hidden behind a rock near the ruins. Luckily, it seemed the monster hadn't followed. "Now that was a terrible day. Sorry, mercenaries. Rest in peace. At least now we know why that place was abandoned. Who'd go in there with that monster lurking about? Then again, I guess that's why the treasure was still there." The old man had slumped against a rock to catch his breath. Before long, he brushed the sand off his clothing and stood up. "Well, you didn't manage to grab anything valuable, right? Here, take this. It's your half of our findings." It seemed the old man had grabbed a little bit of treasure on his way out and had generously offered me half. It's not much, but it should be just enough to pay back everyone hounding me. "I only made it this far because of you, kid. Thanks. Now come on, let's head back to town. I hope you don't mind sticking with me until then."
Your soul surges in your body.
Okay. Let's see, I'm pretty sure that one's just another nothing. Bounty for scoundrels. Yangguang, Forest of Regret. Haoran. Hao Yu called out to me as I walked the streets of Yangguang. Apparently wanted me to meet someone. Okay. During my journey, I decided to stop by Yangguang once more. It had changed so much for the better since I was last here. The damage done by the astral fissure had long since been repaired, and the town appeared a lot safer. I was wandering the town when I heard a familiar voice shout my name. "Do my eyes deceive me? Kain? It is you! I knew it! It's so nice to see you again!" When I turned, I saw the familiar young figure of Hao Yu. He greeted me with a nod and a smile. It was a relief to see him looking so well, yet I couldn't help but recall everything that had happened with his brother, Howron. Howron is back from Ling Shang-Su. I found him in the forest where we used to train. Miraculously, he's recovered, but he refuses to leave the forest and come home. I hate to spring this on you, Kain. Would you mind coming with me to see him? I nodded, and then headed to the forest with Hao Yu. Howron! It's me, Hao Yu! Kain is here with me, too! Hao Yu's voice echoed in the shadowy forest. Suddenly I sensed a burning rage from the dark branches above. I looked up, startled to see a figure dropping down upon me from above, weapon ready to strike. Howron!
Battle 1. Fight!
Ready to give up? Too easy.
No more half measures. Battle 2. Fight!
Do my best.
Be gone! Need help? You!
That's a really simple but effective combo. With a groan, Howron stood, pushing Hao Yu aside as he tried to help. Why didn't you end this when you had the chance? Why didn't you kill me? Tell me, why? With a piercing wail, Howron ran into the depths of the forest. Hao Yu sighed, his head bowed in sorrow. Forgive my brother's rudeness, Kain. Though Howron has returned from Ling Shang-Su with his sanity, his heart still bears many scars. He is torn up by his past and hates himself for what he has done. He wishes he had died rather than live with the memory of his dishonor. Once we'd left the forest, Hao Yu finally smiled. Kain, thank you for agreeing to come with me today. When I found Howron in the forest, he was like a ghost. He just wandered, never responding to anything I said. Little by little, he began to talk to me. Him fighting you today and venting his rage may not seem like progress, but it is. I'm sorry you had to bear the brunt of it, though. I told him not to worry. I was happy to help. Though anger and bitterness rule him now, one day he'll be thankful he didn't die, and he'll move on. That's the type of person he is. I believe in him. He's my brother, after all. Hao Yu told me he would stay in the forest until morning, and with that we parted ways.
Your soul surges in your body.
Most of the choices in this game don't matter, but there are a few that do. Kinda nice that that one does. It's also the most evil act from tests I've done afterwards that you can do towards the light or dark side. Conflict and confusion, aid or abet. What is this about? While walking along a dark mountain path, I spotted a small village nestled in a nearby valley. Though late, I could see lights in many of the houses and hear laughter coming from the tavern. It seemed like a good place to spend the night. Fortunately, the village's chief had a room available. Probably saw the magnificent stone cave temple on your way here, yes? That temple has a long history, and pilgrims from all over travel there to worship. However, now, the chief, as if suddenly overcome with fear, lowered his voice. It seems that bandits have been seen prowling around there lately. Truth is, there's something very valuable in that temple that's been passed down for a very long time. I'm concerned the bandits are after it. The chief raised his head and looked me in the eye. I can tell that you know your way around a weapon. I know it may be rather brazen of me to ask you this, but would you mind assisting me in capturing the bandits? Of course, I'll reward you handsomely for your efforts. I told them that I would need some time to think about it, then retired to my room for the evening. As I readied myself for bed that night, I could hear something outside my window. Sensing it might be trouble, I placed my hand on my weapon. Listen up. Interested in some treasure? Given how secretively this individual was acting, I could tell he was not someone from the village. It was likely one of the bandits the village chief had mentioned. The man continued as I considered what I should do. Normally I just kill those that get in my way, but you seem different. You've got some skill. Help me steal the treasure from the temple, and not only will I let you live, I'll even give you a cut of the spoils. Pretty good deal, right? So want to make a large sum of money? The bandit seemed to have been keeping an eye out on the village for some time. If you feel like helping me out, then meet me by the waterfall behind the village tomorrow night. This is actually going to be a choice then. I was greeted the next morning by the chief. By fair skies. Oh, good morning. So have you reached a decision? I informed the chief that I would help him capture the bandits. Oh, I'm so relieved to hear you say that. Thank you very much. I wonder if choice matters now, because we already chose between the Azure Sword and the Golden Sword when we defeated Aswell. The chief spoke in detail about his plans to guard the village and about the reward. Conflict and confusion, sizing up the masked swordsman. I went to see the local militia to repay the kindness I had been shown in being allowed to stay the night. However, on my way, an unsettling swordsman in a mask appeared. Let's see, I'm going to go back to my high damage weapon, I think. The village chief told me where I could find the head of the local militia. On my way there, I suddenly felt something strange behind me. I turned around to find a masked swordsman with glowing eyes. My blade trembles in your presence. What are you? My gaze was transfixed by the bewitching glow radiating from his blade. My name is Yoshimitsu. I shall ascertain the true nature of your soul.
Battle 1.
Trust me. I grow stronger. How's this?
To you who seeks law and order, stay away from that village. When the masked swordsman sheathed his blade, my vision suddenly became distorted, and his cackle echoed into the night. Hey, you okay? Surprised by the sudden shout, I readied my weapon. The man who called himself Yoshimitsu was nowhere to be found. Only a man who appeared to be part of the militia stood before me. Are you alright? I've heard there are bandits in these parts. You'd better be careful. As the man told me of the treasure vault and its security, I made sure to be mindful of my surroundings. I couldn't feel anything. Did I just imagine my encounter with Yoshimitsu? But if he was real, then who was he, and what was he doing here? The village was attacked just as the mayor had predicted. I had to protect the treasure vault, but how could I have predicted what came next? Single hits are weakened, but combos do more damage. Again, okay. Anything that boosts combo damage even more. Acquire 50% more food? Okay. Yeah. As I stood guard at the village entrance, I suddenly heard what sounded like people fighting further inside the village. It seemed the bandits had begun their attack, just as the village chief had predicted. As I rushed over to help, a man appeared before me, a sword drawn. You fool. Of all the places for you to play hero, it had to be this village. Upon hearing his voice, I recognized him as the bandit with whom I had spoken the previous night. I consider myself a man of good judgment. Most people accept my offers, but I guess I was wrong about you. Now die. So what's up with this village, then?
Battle 1. Fight!
No more half measures.
Battle 2. Fight!
Take this. Take this.
Darn, you really are strong, but don't let this victory go to your head. The treasure is still mine. The bandit turned around and swiftly fled toward the temple. I quickly followed him. I arrived to find a number of men unconscious on the ground in front of the open vault. From their clothing, I could tell it was a mix of both bandits and guards. The bandit from before was among the fallen as well. When I got closer, I saw one man standing inside the open vault, Yoshimitsu. What an absurd farce this was! Now there was nothing but a villain here but a villainous treasure stained with the blood of the innocent. None of these people have claim to it. Several armfuls worth of gold nuggets were strewn across the inside of the vault. Yoshimitsu held one in his hand. Shikisoku Zeku! Before I knew it, Yoshimitsu had vanished along with the gold. In the resulting emptiness, I could hear his voice echoing in the still air. If you wish to know more, then follow me. Although I did not know what he meant, I intended to find out. I tied up the bandits and resolved to make my way to the location Yoshimitsu had indicated. No, it's still here. Manju sword and Fuma blade. Hurried to the place Yoshimitsu had spoken of. There, I discovered the truth. Only soul-charged attacks can finish your opponent. I want some soul charge increasing food, then. Flowering tea. Soul gauge every second. That'll work. And let's go ahead and go to my... I arrived at the location Yoshimitsu mentioned, where I was greeted by only his voice. I commend you in your desire to learn the truth, but I must discern whether that commitment to the truth in your heart is genuine. Genuine.
Battle 1. Fight!
I'll prevail. No more. Now I grow stronger. Yes, I'm there. Deliver me your soul. Treasure. Thou shalt pay. I'll hold up. How is this?
Oh, darn it. That was not what I wanted. A little better that way, since I accidentally tried to do a critical edge instead of a soul charge. I did it too early, though. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Now this little side story is apparently going to have one more battle as I learn the truth about this village. Guess they're probably as evil as bandits. My blade can detect those whose blood is tainted by desire. You do not appear to be what it is seeking. Very well, then you should hear this. Yoshimitsu dragged a figure out from the shadow of the tree. I was surprised to see it was the village chief. Yoshimitsu picked the chief up by his head, then reversed the blade in his hands and held it in front of the man's eyes. What are you?
You villain, look at my blade. Reveal what you have been hiding.
Yoshimitsu's sword began to emit a faint light and the chief's eyes grew dim.
Yeah, we're slavers. We took the village.
The man began to tell a horrific story. The supposed village chief explained that the original residents of the village were all dead, as he and his fellow slavers had killed them all and taken their places. The isolated mountain village provided the perfect location to buy and sell both stolen goods and those they enslaved. All profits the slavers made were stored inside the temple, and the bandits that attacked the vault were most likely aware of this. After the man finished his story, Yoshimitsu slew him with one deep thrust of his sword.
Those that sought to protect the treasure and those who sought to steal it, all were nothing but heartless savages that had strayed from the path of righteousness.
The body of the false chief thudded heavily to the ground. When I looked up from the body, I discovered Yoshimitsu had vanished. Only his voice echoed in the night air.
You who have attained great power, what path will you walk? Where will your heart lead you?
His voice trailed off, leaving only the false chief's corpse and silence in his wake.
Your soul surges in your body.
The original mechanical ninja. Oh yeah, I'm in an expedition. Well, while I'm in an expedition. In search of strength, bounty for scoundrels, more bounties for scoundrels and strength. Yeah, that was just in search of strength. So it looks like I've just about done everything except for the battle with Keelik there at the temple, which is really nasty. I'm probably not even going to worry about that. So we can continue on with the story. Good. Holding council. Traveling by yourself is a lonely thing, and I missed having good company. The road was long, but eventually I arrived at a town that had seen better days. Following the instructions I had been given, I made my way to a lake on the outskirts of town and stood there holding an incense burner. Soon an agent from the Aval organization appeared and guided me to one of the organization's hideouts. Kain, we were expecting you. It has been a while. Dion and Natalie were waiting for me. Apparently Aval had been keeping close tabs on my movements, and they had known that I was coming. When I told them what I was doing and about this black demon, Dion fell silent for some time. Naturally, we've been searching for Gro, but to no avail. Additionally, it has been difficult to continue our search.
Even our organization is fractious at times. Gro has been judged to be an outsider, but we are divided on whether he must be dealt with.
Aval does not compromise regarding outsiders. However, Grode served us well for many years, and his contributions in the fight against Aswell have made him a hero. Many of us believe it is too soon to pass judgment on him, and so our investigations have stalled while we bicker on what to do.
And besides, we not even know whether he is still alive.
I asked them what they thought about the rumor I'd heard. Well, we had heard those rumors as well. However, we do not know if it is indeed an outsider, and have yet to organize an investigation.
And we have no reason to believe this black demon is Gro, either.
However, if you're willing to help us with a little task, then we can mobilize some of our agents to gather information on it in return. I had no problem helping them, but needed to know what that entailed. It's the astral fissures.
Not all have been dealt with. We are working on a way to take care of them ourselves, but you are the most efficient way of doing it that we know of.
As ever, our numbers are few. We know you no longer require the power of the fissures, but if you aid us, we will aid you in return. After some thought, I agreed to help. Then it is settled. I shall tell you the location of an astral fissure. You can handle it yourself, I presume. I gave a small nod, and Dion told me the information I needed. I forgot to look at what that was. Oh well. The astral fissure was where Dion had said it would be. Unlike Yangguang, the area was relatively unaffected, which was somewhat of a relief. I approached the astral fissure carefully, and a berserker appeared. I risk my honor for victory. Opponent's soul gauge fills over time.
No more half-measure battle. Fight.
The fallen must face death. With the berserker defeated, I walked over to the astral fissure. As I stretched my hand towards the astral fissure, I felt two forces tugging at me from the other side. In my mind, I heard a voice from my dreams, and two swords appeared. Which symbol of power would I choose? Soon the astral fissure vanished. I felt an enormous surge of power flow into me, a power even stronger than what I had felt before. Perhaps it was because of my connection with the sword slumbering within the astral fissure had also grown in strength? Whatever the case, it seemed I still possessed the ability to absorb the fissures. It was time to report back to Dion.
Your soul surges in your body.
I'm up to level 70. Holy cow. His request. You've done well. Of all thanks to you, and so do I. Once again, I found myself at the Aval organization's base meeting with Dion and Natalie. Unfortunately, the investigation into Sir Ro's whereabouts are proceeding slowly. However, I have read several reports about what may be the Black Demon. Of all agents in a number of different locations have heard rumors of it while gathering information on outsiders. Our agents' reports contain information on where it was sighted, who it attacked and when, and so on. Alas, we can draw no clear conclusions yet. Worse, these reports raise more questions than answers. With so many sightings spread out over such a large area, it is difficult to imagine that they all correspond to the same entity. In other words, there's a good chance that these leads are red herrings that it won't lead me to Grow or the Black Demon. Do you still plan to pursue this demon? I nodded. Dion responded with a deep sigh. Kain, please find Sir Grow. I ask this not as a part of the organization. This request is from me personally. I asked him what the plan was once Grow, or the Black Demon, was found. If he is found and has lost himself to evil, then the only one with the power to stop him is you. Sir Grow taught me how to fight. More than that, I owe him my life. It saddens me to say that there are many in Aval who have lost sight of its true purpose, blinded by their lust for power and squabbling for personal gain. But Sir Grow's loyalty and purpose never wavered. Aval needs him now more than ever. Furthermore, he believed in you. Is that not so? I gave a small nod. Stop by again soon. In the meantime, we'll do our best to gather more accurate information. Dion and Natalie bid me farewell, and I left the Aval base behind. You can now accept Astral Fissure sealing missions. The Aval organization offers substantial rewards for these missions, so try and seal any Astral Fissures that appear. I think I'm just going to push on. They're not story-based, so I can always do them later. The information from the Aval organization had hardly been enlightening, but I would surely have been more in the dark had I acted alone, and with that I began my search for the Black Demon. This area does not go over the mountains. What lurks in the harbor? With the information I received from the Aval organization to guide me, I went in search of the Black Demon. According to their intelligence, the demon was located in a port town nearby. Green liquid? Okay, fine. My first thought was, how could it be possible for a Malfested to lurk in this town unnoticed? According to a Vol agent's report, a particularly cunning Malfested had wheedled its way into society by disguising itself as a merchant. While the Black Demon was skilled at covering its tracks, something about this didn't feel quite the same. This Malfested looked and acted just like any other human. For a specimen with such guile, interrogation would be pointless. What could I do? I tailed it until night. When it entered a dark, empty alleyway, I approached it. Who's there? I approached silently, and the Malfested bolted. Hastily, I followed. I arrived at, or perhaps I should say I was led to, the port. The Malfested stood before me, sword in hand. How did you know? The Malfested was clearly panicked. Without a word, I readied my weapon.
Battle 1. Fight!
What tracking is this? This guy's annoying me.
No more half battle 2. Fight! Failed? No mercy! Stop! Take this! Give it up! Follow me! Die!
That Malfested was a powerful adversary, true, but it was unlikely that it was the Black Demon I sought. It was time to follow up on my next lead.
Your soul surges in your body.
Let's see, which is closer? Probably here. The wolf in the forest. I received more information potentially linked to the Malfested I sought. Hunters had been attacked by a Malfested deep in a forest, only a short journey away. According to the information I received from the Aval organization, a Malfested lurked in this forest. The average person would never set foot in here, but hunters who braved these woods were known to disappear. The density of the trees made for plenty of blind spots and ambushers' dream. It was no wonder few ever saw this creature and lived to tell the tale. The Malfested here could, indeed, be the Black Demon. My heart pounding, I made my way into the depths of the shadowy forest. Almost immediately, I was attacked. My attacker, however, was not human, but a lone wolf, and used to fighting wild beasts. I knew a tough battle lay ahead. I tried to escape my bestial assailant, but it pursued me with dogged persistence and speed. Perhaps this creature was malfested? The moment I finally landed what I thought was a decisive blow, a whistle pierced the air, and the wolf retreated into the darkness of the trees. Apparently, this wolf had an owner. Following the trail of blood, I arrived at a clearing where a malfested hunter was crouching next to the wounded wolf. So the hunter becomes the hunted. Without a word, I readied my weapon. Since I'm a largely silent protagonist.
Battle 1. Fight!
Oh, jeez. Annoyance. The malfested hunter took the life of the wounded wolf, likely in order to prevent its suffering. This was not something I would expect from the Black Demon, so likely my target was elsewhere. My investigation had so far proved fruitless. At this pace I would never find the Black Demon, or Grow. I thought back to the promise I'd made him: kill me. No matter what the difficulties I faced, I could never give up. Once again, I went to meet Dion and Natalie. What was that? Oof. That's something disappearing. I didn't notice that there was anything special in any of these points. When I arrived, I told them how poorly things had gone. I see. Well, you'll not be pleased to know that our efforts have been similarly disappointing. However, certain facts have become clear. Firstly, the Black Demon is said to use a sword. Secondly, it operates only at night. Thirdly, after analyzing our few eyewitness reports, we can now say with certainty that the demon's actions are similar to those of an outsider. This indicates that it is no longer in control of itself, so all this means... Dion paused. It is highly likely that if the organization found out, they would classify the demon as an outsider. If the Black Demon is indeed Grow, we'll all need to prepare ourselves to accept that. Natalie and I are doing what we can to keep this information quiet for now. Dion unraveled a map on the table. This may help somewhat. It shows every location where the Black Demon has been sighted. We have removed irrelevant sighting locations from this map based on the skill level of the victims, the appearance and weapon used by the assailant, and so on. However, the dearth of witnesses means we cannot guarantee the validity of our information. The three of us shared our thoughts as we looked over the map. Despite talking for hours, we could not reach any concrete conclusions on where or how to continue our search. The data was just too scarce. I've been wondering, what did Grow do before joining the Val? Natalie's question was sudden and unexpected. I believe Sir Grow has always been part of the organization. Not quite. It is true that he was raised by the organization from a young age, but if I remember correctly, he and Sir Curtis were from the same area. Well, in that case, I suppose Sir Grow is from somewhere in Scandinavia. It is unclear how exactly he came to join Nepal. Thinking back, Grow had spoken about missing his homeland and let slip that he had endured fierce blizzards there. It would make sense if he was from somewhere in the north. We will continue our investigations. You do the same. Keep your wits about you. The information we have on the Black Demon suggests that it is no ordinary outsider. Even if you find it, approach with caution and retreat at the first sign of danger. Remember, you are not alone. I nodded, then set out once again. Final Fantasy 9, you are not alone. Haha! We don't even have to travel to it. Nice. Okay, so what has Athens got going on? The sword's guiding glint, arms of the gods. This looks like a Sophitia battle. Neither you nor your opponent take damage while soul charged. Well, that sounds potentially troublesome, as well as awesome. At the entrance to the shrine stood a man and a woman who greeted me as I arrived. Hello, have you come to worship here too? You revere the gods of old? Where are my manners? My name is Sophitia, and this is Rothian. I gave them my name. Apparently they both came here often and wanted to know who I was. I see, so this is not your first visit. That weapon, am I mistaken, or is that not? I showed Rothian the items Hephaestus had bestowed upon me. They closely resemble the arms enshrined here at this very temple. Oh, I did not mean to insinuate anything. I'm a swordsmith by trade. Those of us living in this area offer gifts of our creations to Hephaestus, the god of the forge, in hopes of earning his favor. There have been rumors lately that the offerings we make here are disappearing, and I thought for a moment that perhaps... Sophitia gave the flustered Rothian a gentle smile. Perhaps we can clear up your doubts by crossing swords with this warrior. Forgive my forwardness, Kain, but would you do me the honor of a small duel? Of course, this is Soulcalibur. We use sword fights to solve everything. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't pay my tab. Oh, no problem. I used to be a warrior. Cross swords with me at a duel, and it will consider your tab paid.
Battle 1. Fight!
Her thing goes up crazy. This is going to be a tough fight. Jeez. Tracking.
Still going.
Ready? It's over.
Oh jeez, that worked totally wrong.
Battle 2. Fight!
Can I just restart the mission? I lose my food and everything. I'm not even gonna bother. That's too much trouble right now. I'll come back later. The shadow in the snow. With the information I obtained from Dion and Natalie, I was able to surmise approximately where Gro's homeland was. Up to that point, I'd been on a wild goose chase. I'd learned some small things about the Black Demon, but I had no true leads. This time, however, I had an inkling I was heading in the right direction. Before me lay a sublimely beautiful sight, a rugged land of great glaciers and awe-inspiring vistas. The cold, however, was less pleasant. If I was careless, I'd freeze to death. I lit a fire and warmed myself as I waited for the sun to set. Yeah, real good. Go out in the snow in the dark. No moon shone in the sky that night. The soft snow seemed to absorb all sound, silencing the calls of beast and bird. The crackle of my campfire seemed deafening. From afar, I heard footsteps crunching through the snow, the steady 1-2 rhythm indicating a human. I was unable to ascertain how far away they were, but they seemed to be heading towards me. Not wanting to take any chances, I readied my weapon. The footsteps grew near and then stopped. The fire crackled. I called out, but received no reply. A piece of wood on the fire snapped with a loud crack. A bestial cry filled the air, and a shadowy assailant jumped out of the darkness. I was barely able to deflect a lightning-fast slash. In the glow of the fire, I could just make out a swordsman in the black uniform of the Aval organization. His mad, blood-red eyes caught mine, and a chill ran up my spine. It was Gro. Twice, 3 times our weapons clashed. It was clear I was the prey and not the predator. Dion's words flashed through my mind. I kicked the logs on the fire into the air. A piece of burning wood struck Grow in the face, sending him reeling back. Quick as a flash, I turned and ran for my life. From behind me, I heard a terrifying howl echo through the chilly night air. As I feared, the Black Demon was indeed Grow. However, he had completely lost himself to malfestation, and his now unfettered strength was incredible. He was as strong as when he defeated Oswell, perhaps even stronger. It would have been foolish to try and overpower him. Should I seek the help of the Aval organization? No, there was another I should find first. Soulcalibur. He taught me how to become strong enough to bring down Oswell, and may know of a way to face Grow's might. Though I hated to leave Grow like this, I decided to search for Soulcalibur. Footsteps, Fortress of Illusion. During my travels, I passed by a familiar place. I remembered meeting Geralt near it so long ago. I followed my memory to where I had first sighted the fortress, but when I arrived, I found it was gone, vanished without a trace. The mountains, the trees, everything was exactly as I remembered it, but the fortress was nowhere to be seen. I gazed over the lush meadow before me, my mind searching for answers. Then I noticed an old man, wrapped in a long black cloak, standing where the fortress should have been. "You there, do you know what happened here?" The old man spoke, his eyes closed. "One evening about a year past, there was a great storm. I became separated from my companion. Lost, I wandered in the wet and the cold. Then from nowhere, the voice of an angel spoke to me and led me here. That night I discovered a grand fortress here. On no map was it noted, yet I am not mistaken. It was here." Who was this man? He continued his story, his eyes still closed. "I stayed the night there. Though the castle was ancient and worn, there was evidence that others still dwelled there. In its halls I found fantastical furniture, mysterious objects, and a plethora of books written in a strange tongue. Thinking back, perhaps they were tomes of mystical knowledge. Modesty aside, I would have you know I am a great scholar, and yet even I could fathom neither the era nor folk responsible for those arcane symbols. See for yourself, these are the letters of which I speak." The man produced scrolls, bizarre characters inscribed upon them. "What was that fortress? Why did it disappear? I must know these answers. That is why I remain here." I'm going to tell him the truth. Why not? "That may be." The man opened his eyes wide and they blazed with excitement. "Another dimension. Of course, I never considered the possibility, but it rings true. The angel's voice was a beacon that guided me across the very fabric of reality. My presence here in this banal place supports that theory." "Could a fortress of such magnitude just vanish from this world without a trace? Of course not. So the castle must have never existed here at all. Rather, I traveled to a point where worlds meet, a rare place where dimensions overlap and the pure verities become manifest. Thus, the words I discovered in that fortress must be the celestial tongue of the angels themselves. The archangel that guided me there recognized the purity and devotion in my heart, and revealed to me the universal language so that I may deepen my understanding of the cosmos." The old man waved the scraps of paper around excitedly. "Excellent! Without you, this heaven-sent opportunity would have passed me by. Yourself must be yet another revelation sent by the angel, a guide to the prophecies. Thank you, heavenly messenger. Please, take this." He pushed a heavy bag into my hands before turning and hobbling away. I called out to him and asked his name. The old man glanced back at me. "My name? John D. Philosopher, scholar, and witness to the words of angels." It wasn't until much later that I discovered the old man was a brilliant alchemist who was the talk of noble courts all over the globe. I wonder what that's a reference to. I don't remember the name John D. The legendary White Wolf. Not the achievement for doing all of Grow's stuff. The Second Samurai, a golden-haired warrior. Oh, is this about Arthur, I wonder? Yep, Arthur. On my sojourn, I met a samurai with blonde hair. He turned out to be another who was set on finding Soul Edge. All attacks count as counter hits. Wow. Where's my counter hit damage? Nah, nothing does extra counter damage. I thought I had something that did. I have nullify counters, but I doubt that will do any good. The The small settlement I stopped by was buzzing with rumors about a man with a katana searching for Soul Edge. It had to be Mitsurugi. I'd heard that he'd only just left town, so I decided to pursue him. State your purpose. His armor and katana were that of a samurai, but I'd only seen blonde hair and blue eyes like that on Europeans. I explained that I had heard rumors of him and confused him with a friend. He seemed amused. Is that so? Well, I was beginning to think I was the only blonde samurai in the world. When I told him my acquaintance was searching for Soul Edge too, his expression changed. Soul Edge, you say? Well, then I must know more of this friend of yours. I told him about Mitsurugi. Humph, I cannot allow another to outdo me. You say you have fought this Mitsurugi? Well then, you and he must be relatively equal in strength. In that case, my name is Arthur, and I request a duel. I kind of like how they took this and ran with it. From what I understand, in the first Soul Edge and maybe Soulcalibur as well, some of the European countries didn't want to allow, for some reason, a Japanese samurai to appear in their iconography in their video games, which is weird. So a Japanese video game had to edit the character Mitsurugi and make him blonde, so he was no longer a Japanese samurai. They didn't really change his appearance at all otherwise, but...
Yes, gotcha.
Bravo, excellent. I, on the other hand, disappoint myself. It would be a great pleasure to cross swords with the Mitsurugi fellow, but if he also seeks Soul Edge, then no doubt our paths would cross. Arthur's expression suddenly turned sour. Soul Edge must be mine and mine alone. His single-minded quest for strength reminded me of Mitsurugi, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that Arthur was heading for trouble. As I watched him walk away, I felt a strange connection with him. I was certain this meeting was not our last. Basic in search of strength? Nah. Wonder what else we've got here. Bounty for scoundrels. What are you up there? Another Arthur thing? Nope, just in search of strength. Okay. Interested in some of these side quests, but I also really want to get this thing finished. What's Kashgar got? The second Samurai Mitsurugi's whereabouts. Nah, I'm not going to continue with that. Though it would be nice to have a new weapon. Haven't gotten one in a while. Ostrheinsburg. It was no small feat trying to track down the scythe-wielding sage, but I somehow managed to locate him in Ostrheinsburg. You. What do you want? I explained how I'd found Grow, but needed to know how to defeat him. That man was of great interest to me, despite his connection to the Aval organization. You need not do anything for him. He has lost all control and rampages like a mad bull. Though he has incredible strength now, it will wane in time. And when the last drop drains from him, death will claim his soul. I told Zasalamel how I'd promised to kill Grow should he turn. After a brief pause, Zasalamel spoke. The sword you used to kill Aswell may be able to strike down your malfested friend, too. Can you still sense the sword? I closed my eyes and concentrated. It was faint, but the blade still called out to me. You may still be able to summon it, however your task will not be easy. Then again, you already know that. This time you may have to sacrifice a good portion of your remaining life to manifest the sword, and if you fail, well, you will very likely perish, so think hard before you act. I told him I would fight Grow whatever the cost. Those of limited lifetimes often behave in strange ways. Very well, do as you please. In the blink of an eye, Zasalamel disappeared. I suppose he was finished with me, for now. Before I faced down Grow, I decided to once again pay a visit to the Aval organization's base. I had no intention of asking for help, but thought I should explain my intentions. Sir Grow, Dion's eyes were filled with anguish. The Black Demon's list of victims grows longer daily. It will soon be impossible to keep the rest of Aval in the dark. Eventually, we'll have to speak about you, too, as part of our report on the Black Demon. That will be the point of no return. Even if it is true that his power will eventually wane and he will die, Aval will not stand idly by to watch it happen. Sir Gro's fate would be to die like an animal at the hands of his hunters, without honor and as an outsider. I cannot bear even the thought of it. Is there really no other way? I cannot concede defeat just yet. When I told Dion I wished to defeat Gro myself, he let out an enormous sigh. Then so be it. It is in your hands now. I shall delay my report to the organization. As I went to leave the room, Dion called out to me, Kain, I leave Sir Gro's fate in your hands. I told him I would fulfill my promise to Gro, and made my exit. Okay, so this should be the final battle. Level 60 Gro. Your opponent is permanently soul charged and their soul gauge never depletes. Defeat them. I want a lot of... soul gauge recovery every 1 second. I returned to the snowy field where I had encountered Gro. With my weapon ready, I scoured the area in the hope of finding my opponent before he found me. Unfortunately, he was not so easy to track down, but perhaps Gro had sensed that I was looking for him. He found me before the sun set. I could feel his madness, his bloodlust. There was nothing left of the noble man I once knew. The time for words was over. In some ways, I think that fighting Gro is an anticlimactic way for this Libra of Souls to end. It's kind of absurd that his malfested form is more powerful than Aswell's. Okay, one down.
Battle 2. Fight.
Oh, jeez.
No mercy.
Jeez, that was a mistake. Big mistake.
Battle 3. Fight.
Okay. Good.
Battle 4. Fight.
Ha ha! There we go. Everybody should have a Soul Edge and Soulcalibur equivalent weapon, so you can get powered with a just equivalent weapon for an actual fight.
Forgive me. You fought hard. I was prepared to die, but instead have incurred a great debt. My journey is not over. I must investigate the astral fissure said to still be open. I will find some way to use my power, other than just for eliminating my enemies, as you did. No doubt our paths will cross again. When that time comes, do not hesitate to let me know if I can help. So long. It has been a great pleasure.
Okay, that was an interesting conclusion. After all that, we just saved Grow. I wonder, do we kill him if we're evil? I'm not a big credits guy most of the time.
Your soul surges in your body.
We're now able to sign contracts with elite mercenaries at Yangguang's recruitment agency. Unsung hero. With the deed done, I return to the Eval organization's base. I cannot thank you enough, Kain, for saving Sir Grow from that miserable existence. Personally, my feelings are mixed. However, that does not change the fact that your actions have saved a great many lives. Thank you. Their passionate responses caught me off guard. It was clear how much Grow meant to them, and to Eval. Unsure of what else to say, I told them that all I had done was keep a promise. I asked if Grow had gotten in contact with them. Yes, once. Alas, it seems he has decided not to return to the organization. It is highly likely that the rest of Eval now knows he possesses outsider powers, thus his decision is understandable. If we could only think of a way to keep it hidden. That would be far too dangerous. It is still my belief that Sir Grow will return to us one day. Yes, it will be glorious, like a noble king returning in triumph. Judging by Dion's words, though Grow intended to stay away from the Eval organization, they would not simply leave him be. As Grow himself said, it was possible we would meet again. It occurred to me that everything he and I had done would remain one of history's forgotten secrets. Be that as it may, at least I could say I had no regrets. And who knows, perhaps the journeys and great deeds of us nameless warriors would be passed down as myth and legend and live on for the rest of time. For the first time in what seemed like forever, I thought to the future. And now it's an epilogue. You can continue doing everything you've already done. Scandinavian Peninsula, Echoes of Fate, the Hero King. Survive until time runs out. Sins of the Past. Somebody has got a piece of the cursed sword there. Uh-oh. What is this now? A world for her. A chance meeting with the girl. Is this, I wonder, is this that little traveler lady? This is actually a far place from there because of the Alps. Do I cross the Alps here as well? I think I do. I wonder if I do from Greece. Nope, just the sea. I'm gonna check this out. Oh, level 40. Warrior stands in my way. Bonus mission. I didn't read what it was. It's a level 18 enemy, and I just scoffed. "83 seconds. I hope that's enough for a good reward. Maybe a new level 70 good aligned Witcher sword. The alignment doesn't matter that much. It just gives you an increased crit chance. 4,000 gold is really good. Those are just going to be normal things, I'm sure. I came across an aristocratic young lady surrounded by boorish thugs on the road. I quickly stepped in to help. Combos do much less damage to defeat all opponents, so single powerful hits are better. I spotted 2 people walking along the road towards me, each carrying a heavy burden. Something about them seemed slightly off. "Young lady, allow me to lighten your burden, please. You do worry me." "Stop fussing. I'm fine." "Oh, it's Amy." "I do wish you had refrained from sending the cart on ahead of us. There are things ladies should never be seen doing, and carrying parcels like some lowly manservant is one of them." They were probably on their way back from town. The servant was trying to lecture the girl in the beautiful dress, but it fell on deaf ears. "The young master told me to buy you whatever you please, and yet, good heavens, you go and buy yourself coffee beans." "Raphael said he liked this type of coffee." From behind the pair, a group of rough-looking armed men appeared, their weapons drawn. "It's not safe for a little princess to be walking around these parts unprotected. Lucky we came along when we did. We'll guard you. For a price, that is." Without a second glance, the girl passed her bag of coffee beans to her servant. "You stay back and hold this." The servant moved away with a sigh as the girl turned to face the men, drawing a thin sword from a scabbard at her waist. "If you can beat me, you can guard me." The girl's calm demeanor didn't alter the fact that she was facing a large band of ruffians alone. I couldn't just stand idly by, so I moved in to help. I thought perhaps it might also be Amy. I was also wondering if it was the young lord's daughter that we never got the name of, but did all that stuff for. When the clamor of battle finally subsided, I surveyed the scene. So that's why the girl had been so calm. Unscathed, she put away her sword and then stared up at me. "You're good. What's your name?" I told her who I was and asked if she'd actually needed my help. Before she could reply, though, her servant interjected. "Your help was most welcome. While the young lady is full of fight, if anything had happened to her, I couldn't bear to face the master. I'm eternally grateful to you. As the young lady has said, you are indeed blessed with great skill. Young miss, I have a proposition for you. How about inviting your kind helper to the mansion? It'd be a perfect opportunity to practice everything you've learned." Slightly overwhelmed by the servant's ebullience, I looked to the young girl. She watched me for a moment, then gave a small nod. According to the servant, the mansion was a little off the beaten track. I promised I'd visit within the next few days, and we parted ways.
Your soul surges in your body.
Raphael. A world for her, seeking answers. Hardly because Amy's maid had spoken with such passion, I made my way to the young lady's residence, which was somewhat off the beaten track. The manor's lord came to greet me when I arrived. Vertical attacks do much more damage, because he's Raphael and that's all he uses. When I arrived at the mansion, I was taken to the drawing room. Welcome to my mansion. I am Raphael, heir to Lord Dumas's estate. I heard you came to Amy's aid. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. As a token of my appreciation, please allow me to host you for dinner tonight. It really is the least I could do. During dinner, Raphael boasted of his library. So once we had finished our meal, we stepped out into the garden and headed to the annex to see it. Amy says you are a capable fighter. How about a little duel? No need to hold back with me. I taught Amy everything she knows. Because of course. They give you the opportunity to meet most of the Soulcalibur characters over the course of your adventure. Some a little bit more than others.
Battle 1. Fight!
Come on!
Boy, he likes that one.
Measures. Enough playing around. Fight! Missed me. Watch this. Fool. Let me get. Don't move. On guard. Watch this.
Goodness. He made the second fight a little bit more interesting, at least. Just when I thought I had him beat, my legs grew weak and I stumbled. In a flash, Raphael had the tip of his rapier against my throat. I froze. With what I learned in my investigation, and judging from the power you display, it has to be you. I was wise to take precautions. Well then, Kain, I think I can safely assume you know about the evil seed, and the disaster that befell this world in 1583. I could feel my limbs beginning to grow numb. My food must have been poisoned. Raphael continued, his blade never wavering at my throat. At that time, everything I owned, my land, all my worldly possessions, was taken from me. I had nothing. But then I met Amy. Amy is the sun that lights my life, and the reason I wake up every morning. That is why I seek the information on Soul Edge, so she may know true happiness. Raphael's cold tone warmed back to its usual friendly cadence. Alas, I have many enemies, but with your assistance my investigations will proceed at a much brisker pace. So should you choose to help me, you'll be rewarded handsomely, so what say you? Never a truer fool have I met. Prepare to die, as all who stand in the way of Amy's happiness shall. I felt the tip of his rapier press against my throat. What are you doing, Raphael? Amy. Oh, we're just having a little bit of fun. Indeed, you said so yourself, didn't you? That our guest here is quite adept? As you can see, though, I have emerged the victor. Raphael sheathed his rapier before walking over to Amy. If you change your mind, come and see me. Let's head back inside, shall we, Amy? I watched as the pair headed into the mansion. Raphael said he wanted to bring Amy happiness, but how did the cursed sword fit into those plans? I pondered the question as I left to continue my journey. The final piece. I wonder what Raphael planned to do with the information he was gathering about the cursed sword. Perhaps I would learn more by giving him the texts I had collected. With the documents in hand, I returned to Raphael's mansion. Marvelous! I knew I could rely on you. Raphael wasted no time and began to read the documents I brought on the spot. Interesting. After reading them from start to finish, he let out a sigh. The writings you retrieved for me were the first 2 sections of a 3-section piece. I have the final one. Here. Raphael pulled a document from a shelf. I obtained this recently. Read it for yourself. The final section by the author, this so-called scholar of the future, described a failed attempt to create the ultimate seed. Only those present at Ostreinsberg Castle during the attempt knew exactly what had happened. I pondered who this scholar was when suddenly it hit me. A shiver ran down my spine. Regarding that spirit sword that the author referred to, there seemed to be no references to it in any historical record, nor is it spoken of in any rumor or folk tale. I can't tell if it was something made to increase the power of the cursed sword, or just something that was made up. But it appears this scholar of the future fellow and his plans for the ultimate seed were thwarted by the conduit wielding the true sword, which is very likely to be the real Soul Edge. In other words, if this conduit figure really exists, then I have no doubt that Soul Edge also exists. I presume you feel the same? Raphael looked at me, his gaze as sharp and as threatening as his rapier. But let us celebrate for now. With this I am one step closer to crafting the perfect world for my beloved Amy. These documents will prove a valuable resource to me. Soul Edge, I will know your secrets, this I swear. What had driven Raphael to this? Is this really what Amy wanted, and the scholar of the future? I left the mansion with more questions than answers. That's interesting. Kashgar is more with him. I've got the Keelik battle. I've got an Astral Fissure. This, I think, is closest. Yep, a meeting with Talim. Mysterious enemy. Olivia. Holy cow. I watched in shock as a pitch-black vortex appeared before my eyes. The mysterious creature that had emerged from its depths seemed to have me in its sights. Your opponent moves more quickly. Whew.
Your soul surges in your body.
Nautilus, level 67 Talim weapon. Wow. And it's good aligned, but nothing on it. Although still with that much damage. Village of the Wind Deity, the last priestess. Talim wants to duel with me. It had been a while since I'd last been to the Village of the Wind Deity. It seemed they had been busy in my absence, as festival preparations were in full swing. When I met Plata, she had brought with her a petite young girl named Talim. The stage is slippery, making it tricky to move around, and your opponent's hits knock you back further. Defeat your opponents. Stupid ice physics. The next time I visited the village, its people were busy preparing for another ritual. I guess I had a habit of showing up at festive times. Kain, you Kain. Plata had spotted me before I could find her, and I turned to see her running over, accompanied by a rather petite young girl. Talim, this is the person I was telling you about. Talim had been hiding behind Plata, stepped out from her shadow and bowed nervously. Although she should be like 12 at this point. Greetings. I'm Talim. Talim here has all the makings of an incredible priestess of the winds. With her power, the elders say she's the reincarnation of the ancient priestesses. I don't know about that. Don't be so modest, Talim. She's still not very confident about her sword dance, even though the big day's tomorrow. Oh, I know. Kain, blessed be the winds that sent you here. Would you help me before with my sword dance? Would you mind helping my cousin? How's that sound, Talim? That'd be wonderful. I'd really appreciate it.
Roar for me! Winds, guide me!
Try this!
Thunder, roar for me!
Jeez. Slippery stage of this game is even worse than it was in Soulcalibur 3.
Too easy! No mercy! Stop! Take this!
I just gotta make sure not to slide off.
Yield!
Try this!
Come on! Are you serious?
Try this!
Winds, go free!
I can figure out how to do that attack more when I was playing Goblin. And over she went. Odd that they make it slippery. Before in Soulcalibur 3 they had actual wind effects that just pushed you around rather than sliding. I think that's what they're trying to go for, but weird that they can't do that. Thank you for all of your help. So, do you see how strong he is? As Plata passed me some water, I told her that Talim did indeed have exceptional power. Talim really is special. Do you remember our first meeting when I told you about the last priestess of the winds? Well, it's Talim. Tomorrow will be her first sword dance. Please do her the honor of being there to watch, okay, Kain? Plata's smile was warm, but I sensed a hint of sadness in it. When I arrived at the ritual grounds, the preparations were already complete. Among the crowd of people, I saw Talim looking nervous. Plata, however, was nowhere to be seen. That's interesting, an evil choice to search for Plata. Talim began. Her movements were light and graceful in contrast to Plata's confident and powerful strikes. Yet the wind Talim created roared and raged, bending the nearby trees almost to breaking. So this was the power of the last priestess of the winds. As the dance neared its finale, Talim turned to me as Plata had done before, and a fierce gust roared in my direction. Unlike Plata's gentle breeze, this wind hit me with such incredible force it knocked me unconscious. I opened my eyes to see a youthful face peering down at me in worry. You're awake! Oh, thank the winds! To be honest with you, I'm really bad at the sword dance. I have trouble expressing the destructive and harmful side of the wind. Even so, when the dance was over, I felt ready to be a priestess of the winds. It's all thanks to you and Plata. Thank you so much, Kain. I hope we can meet again someday. I wonder what happens if you search for Plata instead. Oh, I waited too long and that fissure disappeared. Okay, good to know. Not that it matters that much. Well, I think I'm about done with my Let's Play then. I've done the main thing. There are a few things left, but they're not that concerning to me. Eventually I'll go see them, but what I wanted was to share the main part of the games I experienced. All the rest is just fluff and addition. All the main characters have been met that they wanted to show, I believe, so thanks for sticking through all this time, and keep a lookout for some speedruns of Libra and the Souls coming up in the future. Till next time, adios.